Hey, hey, hey. Happy Wednesday. Come on in, pull up a chair. The Daily Dope is in the air. Howdy, 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 gang. Yes, I'm Jeff McAleer, back once again as your host here at The Daily Dope, presented by thegaminggang.com, which I happen to be the founder and editor-in-chief. Yes, I am the grand poobah of the Gaming Gang. Welcome, welcome, welcome. It is Wednesday, September 16th, 2020. This is episode 543 of the Daily Dope. If this is your first time visiting, let me point out that this is very, very casual. We just hang out. We talk about tabletop gaming for the most part. So we're going to talk about board games, role-playing games, card games, miniatures games, you name it. If it's going on your tabletop within reason, Thursday nights, right here on YouTube. But I'll also tell you when I upload other videos, such as my recent review of Carnival of Monsters, which is from Amigo Games, designed by Richard Garfield. And I enjoyed it. I liked it. Yes, sirree, Bob. And of course, when you're not watching videos on the Gaming Gang channel, be sure to visit thegaminggang.com for all the latest in gaming news, reviews, comics, movies, TV. Get your geek on at thegaminggang.com. Because this is a live stream, that also means chat is available here on YouTube. It's not on screen. It's one of the ways that I keep some of the more unusual commenters at bay. But if you want to say howdy, or maybe you've got a question, a comment, by all means, chime in. I will do my best to respond. Do have to mention, sometimes the chat zips by pretty quick. So especially if I'm talking about a news piece or something, I don't necessarily always see everything. So keep that in mind. So if you have like a really important question and I don't address it, just retype it. So far in chat, we've got Jorge Rodriguez, A Gray Day, Kabuki Kid as well, double K's in the house. Jorge Rodriguez is here early and also was first out the gate saying howdy. So hello to everybody. Russell Higgins is chiming in as well. I don't think I've missed anybody. So it's hump day. All right. So, well, hump day's just about over. For some people watching, it's already Thursday. So, but hope everybody had a good Wednesday. Mine was okay. Mine wasn't too shabby. I've been working on a few different things, getting some videos ready. I am starting to work on a video. It's the first time I've ever done something like this. And remember last night I mentioned my friend Brenna Noonan, who was with Starling Games, actually Tabletop Tycoon, really, but I mean everything came from like a Starling Games web, like email address for her. Well, she's doing some other marketing, and there is a company out there, Eldritch Foundry, where you can create your own miniature and have the paint scheme the way you want it. So Brenna had asked me to check that out. So I am working on kind of just doing a screen capture as I like go through the process of picking it out. And then we'll wait for the miniature to show up. And then we will take a real close, in-depth look at that mini and see if it's worth picking up. So that is what I was kind of playing around with today. I did not go into the website yet. I've just been playing around to make sure that the video of me just taking a look at the website and going in and picking stuff out actually works. So Flaming Huron has arrived in chat as well. Very cool. Very cool. So Grade A is talking about Banana Chan is writing the for the Dune RPG. I didn't know that. That's pretty cool. She's pretty talented in a lot of ways. I should say she's pretty talented. Period. Oh, I'm saying in a lot of ways. So if I remember right, I think Banana Chan's done some like board game design as well outside of just RPG stuff. So sweet. A lot of people are waiting to check out that Dune RPG. Should be pretty interesting. I saw the trailer, of course, for the new movie. Hopefully, that should be cool. It looks all right. Aren't they? If I remember right, aren't they doing two movies? They're breaking the book Dune into two films. I think. I don't know. Karen F is joining us in chat. Good to see you, Cameron. All right. So let's jump on into the news because right now on Kickstarter for Renegade Game Studios is Embarcadero. I think I'm pronouncing this correctly. I've got the dope. San Francisco, 1850. The gold rush is in full swing. Ships steam steadily in San Francisco Bay, brimming with would-be treasure hunters. Anchored off the coast of the boomtown lies a flotilla of abandoned vessels, their crews long since taken by gold fever. A few business moguls stake their claims on these derelict ships, towing them into the harbor to house their growing empires. Over time, this wharfside district, known as the Embarcadero, I think that's it, would become the very heart of business enterprise in the thriving port city. In Embarcadero, players step into the shoes of these savvy entrepreneurs, build San Francisco on the hulls of these abandoned vessels, and carve out a foothold in the city council. Do you have what it takes to rule the waterfront? It could have been a contender. The game takes place over 3 rounds. In each round, players take turns playing cards and placing tiles to take control of wharves to earn points and influence. There is a short Kickstarter video. It's all of about a minute, 15 seconds long. So let's take a peek a little bit closer and see what we're looking at as far as Embarcadero.
Step right up, ladies and gentlemen. San Francisco is where you need to be. The California Gold Rush is your ticket to success and riches beyond your wildest dreams. Don't want to toil away at the tedious work of panning for gold? Then don't. The San Francisco wharves are where you want to be. Come to the Embarcadero and build your dreams.
In 1850, the gold rush was in full swing, and the San Francisco Bay was brimming with ships abandoned by would-be treasure hunters in search of gold. In Embarcadero, 1 to 4 players step into the roles of savvy entrepreneurs as they build their empire on the hulls of the abandoned vessels. The game is played over 3 rounds, with each player taking 5 actions per round. Players must choose one of 3 unique options each turn. Dock a ship to claim real estate and gain resources. Construct a building to score points and bonuses, or scrap a card to take actions. At the end of a turn, players will buy a card from the market and then store a card to build your hand for the next round.
Come to San Francisco. Build your dreams. Do you have what it takes to build your business and rule the waterfront?
Embarcadero is for 1 to 4 players, ages 12 and up, and plays in 60 to 90 minutes. This project is fully funded. It launched yesterday. In fact, I think it funded in the first 20 minutes or so. You can reserve a copy of the game, plus stretch goals and the expansion Unsinkable for a $60 pledge through October 2nd. Expected delivery is March of next year. Could be kind of cool. Could be interesting. I like, old Western themed games. Although Gold Rush San Francisco isn't necessarily kind of what people would consider like the old, well, I guess it's Old West, not Wild West. But it seems kind of interesting that you're actually like they have John C. Fremont. That's a historical figure. So I'm taking a guess you're going to actually play as historical figures, and it looks like you can kind of create the different businesses as you're building up your empire. So I do see Kabuki Kid is talking about the PlayStation 5. Dun, dun, dun. Yes, I did not watch that today. I don't know. I had a PlayStation 4. I actually gave it to my nephew Cameron. Just I didn't play enough stuff on it. So I've got, I usually have pretty good PCs. So, and yes, I know there are a lot of games that are exclusive to Sony, although we're seeing more of those kind of coming over to PC. But I thought it was pretty cool. I enjoyed it a lot. I played a lot of MLB The Show. I think we've talked about that on occasion. I always liked the people who would rage quit when they were losing and it was in the seventh inning. That was always fun. All right, let's move on to our next news piece because arriving later this year from Atheris, I think it's Atheris Games, is Ruin of Mars. Here's the dope. In Ruins of Mars, players are competing to build out their arsenal of knowledge. They must understand the languages of ancient civilizations that colonized Mars, making it a hub of economic activity. Though the year is now 2179 and the Earth's future seems bleak, I don't know. The year right now is actually 2020 and the Earth's future seems bleak. I don't know if we're going to make it to 2179. Anyway, Earth's only hope is to learn the reasoning why Mars faced its demise as C. I think it should be and C if their technologies can be used to prevent further decay on Earth. The game is played around a board with 10 communal cards. Players will pick up any stack of cards and then place them down in a Mancala-like fashion. They must place a card on the space they pick the cards up from, and then they place other cards around the rest of the board. Each of the 5 locations on the board have different effects on the cards placed there. The goal of the game is to earn the most points, which is done by learning Martian technologies, learning their languages, and studying cards. Studied cards have an additional bonus effect. Players can choose an action to study cards at one of the sites on the board instead of playing its ability and have ways to earn temporary focus tokens, which will allow them to spend a token for a one-time use bonus effect. Each technology can be purchased with a mixture of 3 resource types, which are earned through certain cards on the board. There are 3 levels of technologies to be learned in 3 rows in the tableau for a total of 9 cards. The game ends when either someone fills out their tableau or when 3 markers are at the top of the language learning board, which players advance on through the use of certain cards on the board. Ruins of Mars is for 1 to 4 players, ages 14 and up, plays in 60 to 90 minutes. It will carry an MSRP of $34.99 when it arrives in the 4th quarter. I gotta say, this looks really interesting. I have to say, I have never played a game that has the like the Mancala. I think that's how it's pronounced. Mancala, kind of like tableau, where things kind of it's a certain style of game. So I have not played one of those, but this does seem kind of interesting. I like the theme to it, where you're trying to study this Martian technology, you're trying to save the Earth. You're not necessarily studying Martian technology for weapons to blow each other up, which would also be fun. But this looks kind of cool. So I see Ben Jarrett has joined us in chat. Good to see you, Ben. Hopefully you're not working too hard on Moons and Stars. So let's see. Who else we got? Anybody else I've missed in chat? No, I think we're cool. I think we're up to snuff there. So let's move on to our next news piece, because arriving next month is Black Rose Wars from Ludus Magnus. I've got the dope. Black Rose Wars is a competitive fantasy game of deck building, strategy, and combat set in the hectic universe of Nova Aetes in Italy. Each player is one of powerful mages of the Black Rose Order who aspires to become the new Supreme Magister in order to acquire the mighty power of the Black Rose artifact and the Forgotten Magic. Mages must fight, fulfill Black Rose desires, and gain strength with their spells. And we got an extra image popping up here. Why is that up here? Let's get rid of it. I don't know. I'm telling you, this solid state drive. I gotta order one. I gotta order a new solid state drive from Amazon, I think. Luckily, they've been pretty cheap lately. Anyway, mages must fight, fulfill Black Rose desires, and gain strength with their spells until their power reaches the containment threshold of the prison where they are exiled, finally freeing themselves. Each mage has at their disposal 6 schools of magic, and each one with its own strategy to annihilate their opponents and increase their power. At the start of the battle, mages start with a grimoire of 6 cards. As mages study more spells during play, their grimoire will increase. Every spell in Black Rose Wars has 2 different effects, increasing a player's adaptability during a fight. Mages fight each other in a modular arena of hexagons called rooms. They summon powerful creatures, cast destructive spells, or devise dark deceptions with their enchantments. The game system is divided into different phases. Each turn, after choosing new spells from these 6 schools of magic, players plan their strategy in advance, placing cards face down. Later, they reveal the played cards to kill each other, solve missions, summon creatures, or destroy the prison rooms, one against each other and against the Black Rose, the playing system, the AI. After being killed, mages are reborn immediately, allowing them to re-enter the fight without delay, although their death still fed energy to those mages who caused it. The mage with the most power at the end of the battle will be crowned Supreme Magister of the Order by the Black Rose itself. Black Rose Wars is for 1 to 4 players, ages 14 and up, plays in around 90 minutes. It's going to carry an MSRP of $89.90 when it arrives, I should say, on October 2nd. Well. So, yes, as we are seeing some comments out there, wow, it's finally coming out. Supposedly, it is finally coming out. It is slated through distributors to arrive October 2nd. I don't know. I gotta say, this looks interesting. The miniatures do look cool. I don't know how many images, or I should say miniatures there are. I guess I shouldn't try talking and reading chat at the same second there. This could be very cool. I don't know how many minis are included in this box. Now, I have seen that there are supposed to be these expansions, which have, I believe, new mages that are available as well. So, don't know. Ben Jarrett says, those are really detailed sculptures. Do want to point out, those do look like 3D sculpts, though. So, you never know. I have seen some stuff. Hey, I'm not knocking this. They do look really cool, those minis. But I have seen plenty of Kickstarters where they had 3D sculpts and you're like, wow, that looks really nice. And they've tweaked them so they don't look like 3D sculpts. Like, you know how you sometimes see those really cheap looking 3D sculpts? And then when the game came out, the minis are kind of like, meh. They're pretty soft as far as detail. Not saying that's the case here. But like I said, this looks like a pretty cool game. I would hope it's got quite a few miniatures in it for basically a $90 MSRP. So we will see. We'll see if this comes out. According to distributors, it is actually coming through. So a Grade A says there was a playthrough about 2 years ago. Jorge asks what the scale of the minis will be. I'm taking a guess they're probably somewhere between 28 millimeter and 32 millimeter. That tends to be what we see. I would take a guess maybe they're probably a little bigger. if I were making a game that had miniatures and I didn't really care about people using those miniatures for other games, I would probably go with a little bigger scale. All right, so I had some news from Paizo yesterday. I've got news from Paizo again today because Paizo has announced the new adventure path. It's coming next summer. I've got the dope on Strength of Thousands. The Strength of Thousands adventure path is coming in July 2021. This 6-part monthly adventure path takes characters from 1st to 20th level. It's set in the Okay, here we go. Get ready for all the mispronunciations. So a grade A says minis are larger than 28. They used to all be 28. There are still some companies that produce 28 millimeter. But yes, the larger miniatures do look odd next to the smaller 28 millimeters. Anyway, this adventure is set in the Magambia, taking a stab, Magic Academy in the Wangai Expanse, the oldest and most prestigious magic school in our world. Of course, we're talking about the world of Pathfinder. We've been looking to tell a magic school story for a long time, and we're thrilled to tell a non-Western magic school story set in the Magambia. In Strength of Thousands, the characters start as students, become teachers, and ultimately hold the fate of the school in their hands. The name of this adventure path comes from a school motto. Each teacher and student stands on the shoulders of thousands who have come before, so the weight of reputation and responsibility rests squarely on the hero's shoulders. Strength of Thousands is open to characters of all kinds, but it's a magic school, so some spellcasting ability is necessary. If you like playing fighters or monks or other non-spellcasting classes, don't worry. We're layering on additional spellcasting ability to all characters in this adventure path. So if you can't normally cast spells, you get a little bit of spellcasting. If you are a spellcaster already, you get a little more. This makes the characters slightly more powerful than normal, but lets them feel like students in the world's premier magic school. Thanks, Professor X. The adventures initially focus on the Magambia, but soon expand to take place all over the Wangai Expanse and even beyond in an interplanetary excursion. Spoilers. The teachers at the Magambia are also diplomats and guardians of the world, and we want the players to really feel that. You'll undertake diplomatic missions in the dangerous city of Zali, stage a rescue in the sodden lands, and uncover secrets lost for thousands of years. Strength of Thousands gets tons of support in supplemental articles in each volume, including rosters of fellow students and faculty members and an academia downtime subsystem, so characters get more skilled throughout their academic years as students and as teachers. We expect Strength of Thousands to span many in-game years and thrill real-world players for a long time. The Strength of Thousands will launch in June 2021. So this is actually popping out in conjunction with the source book we talked about last night, the Pathfinder Lost Omens Wangai, I think that's how it's pronounced, Wangai Expanse source book. So pretty cool, pretty nice. So Grade A says, Board Game Geek has a bunch of info about Black Rose Wars, but who knows, after 2 years, what's now? So Grade A says it's pronounced Wangai. No, that's not what I saw in the video. The M is silent. I'm just telling you, Grade A, I watched the video yesterday. It's kind of how they were pronouncing it. There's no M sound to it. So I don't know. Wangai, Wangi, I don't know. I have no idea. You know, I don't know that much about Pathfinder. So although I got a bunch of stuff supposedly heading my way, so we will find out. But so Karen says that they are excited because they've been looking for more Expanse products. So now just to convert it to first edition. Cool deal. Yeah, Great Day say, well, Paizo says it's pronounced this way. I watched the announcement video with the people who are working on it, and they pronounced it a completely different way. I don't know. It's a fantasy place. It's like, come on. Doesn't who cares? Who cares about the pronunciations? All right, my final news piece. There is a new adventure available for Fallout Wasteland Warfare RPG from Modiphius Entertainment. Here's the dope on the Unexpected Shepherd. Protection Order Part 1. This is a 36-page solo adventure PDF for the Fallout Wasteland Warfare RPG expansion. Keep in mind, it is not the Fallout role-playing game. That is not out yet. This is for the role-playing game expansion that came out for the Fallout Wasteland Warfare miniatures game from Modiphius Entertainment, just so you know. Delve into the wasteland with the Fallout Wasteland Warfare RPG's solo missions. The Unexpected Shepherd, Part 1, is the first on the list. Take on the foes and threats that the world of Fallout throws at you, where your decisions make a difference and the outcome is all up to you. Called to Sentry, a grimy trading outpost housed within and around a tangle of 100 shipping containers. You're answering the call for assistance from an old friend. Use a choose your path style adventure system. You get to make choices, make skill tests, and decide the outcome. The Unexpected Shepherd also uses special game mechanics to remember some of your actions, so they may have consequences later, as well as track time. Plus, you can play major encounters using models on the table using Fallout Wasteland Warfare's AI system to control the non-player characters. This 36-page PDF is available right now over at DriveThruRPG for $5.99. Cool deal. I enjoyed playing Fallout Wasteland Warfare. I thought it was a pretty good system. I did give it to my nephew Cameron, my review copy, because he was he's a huge Fallout fan. So nice to see the role-playing aspect of Fallout Wasteland Warfare start to get a little bit of support, because that expansion came out and that was kind of it. I haven't seen anything. I think this is the first time they've done a release for it. Of course, as I mentioned, it's available over at DriveThruRPG. And whenever I'm talking about DriveThruRPG, keep in mind the Gaming Gang, thus the Daily Dope, are affiliated with the One Bookshelf sites. So if you are going to go visit one of the sites, say DriveThruRPG, please swing by thegaminggang.com first, click on one of our banner ads, and that way, if you do happen to make a purchase, get a little portion of that sale. Very little portion, but all those little portions add up and really do help keep the Gaming Gang website around. So very nice. So Great A says, it's going to generate lots of questions. And Paizo their vocal answer is always, pronounce as you wish, it's your game. Yeah, that's how I kind of look at it too. That's what I always get a kick. Well, I had to laugh. It was another one of these Weisenheimer comments on my review video for D&D Icewind Dale, Rime of the Frost Maiden, which is up almost to 15,000 views, which, of course, remember, you can win this copy right here in my hand of the alternate art cover. I am going to choose the winner on September 29th. So you got to watch the review to find out how you can win. Anyway, their comment, first of all, their comment was extremely rude. And then they were like, oh, this guy doesn't know how to pronounce anything. He mispronounces all these different words. It's like, really? Like what? Sort of like, seriously? It's like, okay, maybe I mispronounced the name of a place or something. Okay, whatever. But the way this person made it out was like, oh, I was mispronouncing everything. It's like, I swear, sometimes being a reviewer is a pain in the ass. It really is. So Kevin R. Smith is joining us towards the end of the show. Yes. So Kevin's saying that 3 nights in a row. 3 nights in a row. Cameron F says, people get mad about pronunciations. Don't talk to enough people. Well, there are some gamers out there who, we already know have very little social skills. So, all right. Anyway, pretty quick run through the news tonight. So I was talking the other day that I will have some new contests for October. Still bouncing around what they'll be. Of course, one will obviously be tied into YouTube, simply because the contests tend to draw a little more traffic. Of course, granted, right now the Icewind Dale Rime of the Frostmaiden contest is drawing a lot of people and a lot of comments because, well, you got to check out the video to find out how to win. But I do know that when I do a YouTube contest, I tend to get a little bit more traffic. If I tie it into Twitter, nothing happens. I could do stuff where it's like, oh, well, if I get another 500 followers, I'll give this away. Doesn't do anything. But I will share what I will be giving away. So AEG sent me a package the other day. Remember I showed you Calico, which I'm going to try to play that this weekend. Well, they also sent Truffle Shuffle, which I already have a copy of. I already have a review copy of Truffle Shuffle. I have only played it once, haven't played it enough times to do a review yet. I'll be getting a review out shortly. So I've got this. So this is one of the giveaways, which I will probably try to tie into a review of Truffle Shuffle. Makes sense, right? So I would say maybe October 1st, expect to see the review of this, and then I will do a contest and probably run the contest for like a week. The other item is Mariposas. I've already reviewed this. I've got my review copy, and AEG sent me another copy of Elizabeth Hargrave's Mariposas, which I really enjoyed. So we will be having a contest in October for this as well. So just thought I'd share that in case you were curious, because, yeah, I mentioned, I'm going to have some giveaways. So those are at least 2 giveaways. So a grade A is asking, as far as the D&D module show that I'm putting together, is that going to be live or taped? Well, it's not taped. Yes, it's taped on Memorex, because I always joke around about Memorex. Somebody commented, I forget who it was. Somebody commented, I think it was on last night's show, at the end, and it was, hey, Jeff, they don't use Memorex anymore. It's like, yeah, I know. Come on. It's a gag. It's kind of a joke. Because I'm old school. I like to, kind of throw stuff in. It will be, it'll be pre-recorded. It's not going to be a live stream. So I am still working on that. Hopefully I'll get to do it this weekend. I don't know. First of all, I don't know if it's entertaining enough is kind of what I'm curious about. I don't know. Ben Whisper has joined us with a quick bonjour from Paris. Cool. Flaming Heron says, I like the rocket surgery gag. Yeah, I forget where I heard that years ago. It's not brain surgery, right? So it's not rocket surgery. I think it was from a movie I saw once. Anyway, anything else we should tackle in chat? I should point out, the more opportunities I have to do giveaways and stuff, I will do giveaways. It's just, like I said, one of the reasons that I usually do like PDFs and things like that is I don't have to pay for any shipping. And if you're fairly new to the channel, new to the watching the show, you may not realize, the Gaming Gang, we celebrated our 10th anniversary on the 1st of September. And I don't sit here, I don't do Kickstarters and do Patreons and have my hand out saying, "Oh yeah, keep me around." That's most people who are covering this hobby want someone supporting them, be it the audience or the visitors to their website or listeners to their podcast or companies and so on and so forth. So I don't do that. So anyway, so like when I do giveaways and that, a 20 bucks to ship something out to a winner, that's cutting really into my overhead. And this year, I guess I'm pretty transparent, I think, with everybody out there. I know some people don't like that fact that I'm fairly transparent. But usually at Gen Con, I take a lot of the stuff that I know I'm never going to play again. And I know I'm not going to actually donate to somebody. Because I have done donations to VA hospitals. I've done donations to children's hospitals before. It's not something I really talk about. But I have loads of games that are just taking up space. So I take them down to Gen Con. I put them in the auction. And then the money that I make from the auction really helps pay to keep this running for the next year until the next auction. Because, as you can tell, it's not like I have a huge budget. You know that. It's pretty obvious. No Gen Con auction this year. So, yeah. That was a big chunk. That was a big chunk. Because I actually will normally bring on average 120 games and RPG books and things like that down there. So, yeah. Anyway, so Ben Whisper says, very late here, but anyway, I'm very proud to be with you guys. Yeah, for the most part, everybody's pretty friendly. I think we do a pretty good job of making everybody feel welcome. Fingers crossed. To be honest, I have Flaming Huron, who's here in chat with us right now. I also have the Madman, who it's Wednesday. I'm assuming he's probably playing RPGs tonight, or running maybe it's either 5e or Savage Worlds. But really, I think we've had to kick one person out of chat one time because they were just kind of, I don't know. I forget what it was. I think they were just being an asshole. So it was basically come down to. And booted them out. And this is actually before Flaming Huron or the Madman were moderators. So, and they've been moderators for quite some time. It's one of the reasons why I don't stream on Twitch. Because I started off with doing Twitch and YouTube because there's a website you can use that you can actually stream out to various different sites at the same time. And I would get people getting into chat over on Twitch, and it was of course, it's a very different audience over on Twitch. So, yeah, it was very, very wonky. It was like, nah. And the other reason why I don't stream on Twitch is, well, there's a few. One, and it's not because it's like, oh, well, I want to be a Twitch partner or something. I don't care about that. First of all, they will only allow a certain bit rate if you are not a partner. So I think the best quality stream you can do is about, well, you can do a really sharp 60 frames per second, 720p. But then if you do 1080, I think you're down to 30. And so that was one reason. Another reason is that I don't like the fact that Twitch, I don't know if it's different if you're a partner or not, but if you do a stream on Twitch, it's on Twitch for a couple of weeks and then it's gone. And that's it. I mean, they don't save any of the stuff for more than 2 weeks. So I don't know. So there is a bit of discussion on getting into role-playing games. So let's see. Let's see who asked what. So, okay, so Ben asked if you had to pick an RPG to buy, which would be his first, what should he get? Okay, so, and there are a lot of people floating things out there. The question I would mainly ask would be, what kind of genre do you want? Are you looking for kind of that traditional kind of high fantasy role playing game like you'll find with 5e or Pathfinder? Are you looking for something that's going to be a like a low magic, a little more realistic, kind of say like a Game of Thrones kind of setting, not necessarily with the political intrigues, but more kind of gritty and grim? Or are you looking for something like completely different than that? Are you looking for Lovecraftian horror or possibly the Wild West or science fiction? I mean, it all really, really, really depends. So Jorge and Agrede are both pointing out basic fantasy. I agree. I think basic fantasy is really well done. There are loads of adventures, and probably the best part about it, it is free. The PDFs are all free. You can get a physical soft cover of the core book. I don't know if the price has changed. Last I looked, it was $5. So they were basically presenting that at cost. So Ben says, I'm pretty open. I'm not aiming at a certain, I like to know what people say. You got to play. Well, that's actually for role players, that is a bit of a problem. Because there are a lot of people, well, even within their own game, there are people, like, for an example, there are people who are Pathfinder fans. They hate second edition. They can't stand second edition. They think they dummied down the game and went all social justice warrior in the game. Okay, well, all right, if that's what they think. So you also have people for Dungeons and Dragons. You got a lot of people out there who still enjoy AD&D, second edition D&D. If I were to tell people, hey, if you want to play an older edition of Dungeons and Dragons, I would recommend second edition. Granted, yes, Gygax was already gone, and they screwed around with the demons and stuff like that. Yes, yeah. But I think presentation-wise, I think it's pretty nicely done. It makes they didn't change that much in second edition. They tweaked a few different things. I mean, granted, yes, if you start buying into all the mass number of like supplemental material out there, and I'm not talking adventures, I'm talking about, the different source books. Yeah, then it starts getting a little wonky. But yeah, second edition, I would say second edition is cool. So Kabuki Kid says, you hear someone use SJW as pejorative, you should be careful. No. So Ben Whisper says, Call Cthulhu. Call Cthulhu is my game. That is my game of choice. I have run Call Cthulhu for decades. So love Call Cthulhu. Basic role playing, I think, is pretty cool. If you're looking for fantasy, I think RuneQuest. If you are looking for something that's going to be kind of, gritty and actually very realistic, very like Bronze Age setting, I think that's fantastic. There's so much out there that you can really dive into. If you're looking for like fantasy that's very, very rules light, the Black Hack second edition. I didn't say hack, as in hack and slash. The Black Hack second edition, I think, is really well done. All of maybe 90 pages, and maybe 15 of them are rules. So yeah. So Ben says, I'm so new, I didn't realize there were horror games. Oh yeah. Yeah. There are some horror games. Most definitely. And Call Cthulhu has a quick start. This is what I would basically recommend, Ben, is go over to DriveThruRPG. First, go to thegaminggang.com, click on one of our banner links, No, really, you could do that. What I do recommend you do is go over to Drive Through RPG and look for quick starts, because there is Call of Cthulhu has a quick start. Um, trying to think, I mean, there's loads and loads of quick starts out there. D&D does not. Fifth edition does not have a quick start per se. They have they've got two. They've got the essentials as well as the starter set. Those are box sets for about $30, which are jam packed with gaming material. Pathfinder, their second edition, their beginner box is on the horizon. That's coming out in November. So, yeah, Jorge Rodriguez says Call of Cthulhu is good at what it does. Yes, yeah, I agree. Call of Cthulhu. If I were looking for something where I wanted to do a combat heavy role playing game of any genre, I would not be going with Call of Cthulhu or basic role playing, which is what Call of Cthulhu really is built on, the D100. But yeah, I would say what I would recommend, Ben, go and take a look at the quick starts. Go to Basic Fantasy. I think the website, Grade A could probably correct me if I'm wrong, because a Grade A usually is up on this kind of stuff. I think the website is basicfantasy.org. It's not a .com. I think it's a .org. Like I said, somebody out there will let you know. But yeah, it's just, Cameron's pointing out that the tabletop role-playing game world is massive. It is massive. D&D is just one aspect of it. What I tend to find is a lot of people get drawn into the hobby, especially nowadays, playing Dungeons and Dragons, and then they move on to something else. A lot of them, I mean, they may still play Dungeons and Dragons with their group of friends, but I do see a lot of people will kind of dip their toes in, play some D&D, and then they're like, and then they hear about, oh my gosh, wait a second. So there's kind of like an X-Files Lovecraft game out there, and then they pick up Delta Green. Or they're like, wow, there's an HP Lovecraft role-playing game out there, and they'll check out Call of Cthulhu or RuneQuest, or Modiphius Entertainment has Star Trek. They do an excellent job with Star Trek. They've got Conan the Barbarian role-playing, John Carter of Mars, another one of my favorite like fantasy role-playing systems is the 4th edition of Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay, which is from my friends over at Cubicle 7 Entertainment. You've got Forbidden Lands from Free League Publishing. So there's something for everybody out there. And what I have talked about before when I have done little, I don't want to say tangents, but I mean, I have talked before on previous shows about people asking, hey, I'd like to get into role-playing games. I don't know where to start. The first question that I ask is, what are you and your friends interested in? Because you don't want to be sitting there running a horror role-playing game if people don't like scary things. They're not going to dig it. You're not going to want to play a Star Trek role-playing game if everybody's super into Star Wars. Obviously enough, you're going to want to run a Star Wars game. So that is what I always recommend. That's your first thing. And if you're looking at doing like a fantasy game, man, wow, you have got tons of options. Kabuki Kid says Star Wars D6 was good. Star Wars D6 was great. Okay, mechanically, once the characters got to a certain experience level, then it was getting a little odd, because then the mechanics kind of fell apart, like more powerful characters. But one thing I loved about the old West End games, Star Wars, that Trek Wars show that was at the movies. What I always loved about it was there was so much detail in it that the authors of Star Wars novels would actually use the source books for the role-playing game because they were considered to be canon. I thought that not anymore, but at the time, yeah, back in the day, I thought that was pretty wild. Timothy Zahn has talked about that a few times before. So anyway, all right, so we sat around chatting a little bit, but yes, there are loads and loads of role-playing games. Ben, you can always swing over to thegaminggang.com, check out our reviews. We have loads of role-playing game reviews as well. So definitely check that out. All right, so that is it for this time out. As I always like to remind you, actually, before I move into this, I should say one last thing before I wrap up. If you watch the show regularly and you hang out and chat, you really should give the video a thumbs up. And I'll explain why. Because, I mean, I know people out there are like, hey, Jeff, how can we, help spread the word? What can we do? We like the Gaming Gang. We like the show you do. How can we help? The easiest, simplest way for you to help is tell a couple of friends about the Gaming Gang and the channel here on YouTube and give a thumb up to the video. Because what will happen is the more engagement a video has, the more likely YouTube will share it with somebody. If there's no engagement, or if the positive ratio between thumbs ups and thumbs down is lower than, well, once it hits, if it goes below 90%, it's a little ding. If it's below 80%, bigger ding, so on and so forth. And we already know there's like one or two people out there who basically any video I post, give it a thumbs down, which whatever. If it gets them through the night, I'm glad. But the more engagement that the video has, the more likely it's going to be shared with somebody else watching a different video on YouTube. So by all means, if you watch regularly, you should always be giving the episodes a thumbs up. Just floating that out there. So as I mentioned, if you like the video, give it a quick thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't. If you do subscribe, ring the notification bell because it will not only let you know when the Daily Dope streams live Monday through Thursday nights right here on YouTube. It'll also let you know when I upload other videos, such as my recent review of Carnival of Monsters from Amigo Games, which I liked, gave it an 8 out of 10. So if you were watching live, hanging out in chat, thank you very much. Always appreciate it. Always want to welcome people to say hi. I know there are some lurkers out there. We don't bite. You can say howdy. We're pretty friendly. I won't have Flaming Heron drop the ban hammer on you unless you deserve it. But if you watch live, thank you very much. Always appreciate you keeping me company. But I do know a lot of people out there can't watch live. Maybe they're even watching on Memorex. Regardless how you watch or when you watch, thank you very much. I appreciate all of you taking time out of your busy days to just blow off some steam watching my videos. So, of course, I will be back tomorrow. So everybody enjoy the rest of your Wednesday night / Thursday morning. And of course, as I've been signing off on all my videos during this pandemic, unfortunately, please do your best to be smart. Stay safe. See you tomorrow. Oh, you're still here. Well, once again, thank you very much for watching this video. And of course, if you'd like to subscribe to the Gaming Gang channel, click right here. And of course, if you want to see one of the latest episodes of the Daily Dope, click right on up here. And if you want to roll the dice, take your chances, See what YouTube thinks you might like from the channel? Give a click right here. Once again, I'm Jeff McAleer, and I'll see you next time.